Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. This is This Week in Niche Pursuits News, and I'm recording with my co-host today, Jared Bauman. Jared, how you doing?
Good, Spencer. Good to see you. Good to be here.
Yep, always good to be here. Always good to catch up on the latest news, the updates, that are happening in our world of SEO, affiliate marketing, niche sites, whatever you want to call it. And there is some more that was happening. It's funny because a couple hours ago we're like, kind of light on the news day, and then a couple of things happened, and here we are. Got more news to update. In particular, we're going to jump into the Google Core update has finished rolling out.
Ding, ding, ding.
We mentioned it, last couple of weeks, and it's like less than 30 minutes ago, I think. Like it just finished rolling out, and so we're going to talk about that. And so we're going to cover a few news topics here to start off the episode, and then we're going to jump into our shiny object shenanigans, where each of us have a couple of side projects that we're working on. We'll give some updates there. And then finally, we're going to talk about two weird niche sites. Each of us have a weird niche site to bring to the table here. And they continue to be weird. That's all I got to say about that. So stick around. Mine, I think, is maybe less successful than some of mine have been in the past, but still weird nonetheless. And we will talk about it. So
I just
with that
now, so I will be totally off the cuff on it because I didn't see it until just a second
ago.
That's
That's the way it should be. Natural reaction. So let's jump right into it.
Before we jump into the podcast, I wanted to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Here's a short clip of Ferry from Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
This campaign got us big links in websites such as Lifehacker, Wales Online, Daily Record, and about 20 other news websites. Let me show you how we've done it. We knew that people will be flying a lot this summer, and we knew that journalists will be writing about this topic a lot. So, on behalf of our client, we put together a nice guide about how to fall asleep on the plane. Then we use MuckRack to find journalists who write about travel. Then we put our advice in a nice email and send the tips to the journalists. Within just a few days, the links started landing, securing our client natural placements in really big websites, just like this, and this. This is a great example about how you can leverage seasonal trends to earn links to a website. Anticipate what journalists want to write about at all times and give them the stories that they need. They will reward you with some great, juicy links. I hope this is helpful.
If you want similar link building PR campaigns for your website, head to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them now.
So, like I said, the Google August Core update has finished rolling out. And so basically, Google just says, hey, we finished. And that's about all you get in terms of information from Google. They just have a status dashboard, which I'm sharing here. And so the August 2023 Core update, it started August 22nd, and it gives the exact time. And then it finished today at 1:03 Pacific Standard Time. Today is September 7th. When you listen to that'll be September 8th. We release these a day after we record them. But it's done. So you can look at your website. You can see where your rankings are currently and know that, hey, you either survived or did not survive the Google Core update for August. And so, Jared, I know that you tweeted some stats out, some results a little bit. So I'll go ahead and share my screen with that if you want to talk through what you shared on Twitter here.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this last week. It's particularly it's normal to go to your analytics and look at data to see how your sites have performed. And I find myself not wanting to go to analytics as much these days. And so I decided, hey, what if I went to one of my ad networks to evaluate how the update was doing? Because, and it's true, I tweeted about it, but at the end of the day, who really cares about traffic if it's really more about how much money the page views are bringing you? So
it's all about the bottom line.
It's all about the bottom line. And so I kind of went and broke down, because in this case, I shared 3 different sites and their performance on Raptive, or otherwise known as AdThrive. And you can see some different fluctuations from the core update, first and foremost. And so you can see site 1 there has 125% traffic growth, so more than double. That's the win. That's one of the wins from the
Wow.
core update. And earnings were on pace with it. So 125% uptick in traffic, 125% uptick in earnings. Big win there. That's great. Site 2, and this is one of my bigger sites, we got about a 12% traffic drop, which to me is not too big of a deal, just a little bit of a correction or something. But that was an 18% earnings drop. And so I dove in a little deeper. Turns out I lost much more U.S. traffic than I lost in non-U.S. traffic. And so that's kind of why. And then the third site there had literally zero change in traffic. It's flat, but earnings are up 22%. And why is that? Just because RPMs have gone up. Nothing to do with the core update at all. So anyways, it's just a good reminder. Number one, definitely had some sites that saw some ups and some downs. And number two, the earnings that come from those ups and downs aren't always the same. And that can be true for affiliates. That can be true for ad revenue. It can be true across the board.
Yeah, so if I'm looking at how you're comparing, and just for listeners, how they can maybe compare and say, hey, did my traffic really go up or down? It looks like you're taking, a couple of weeks before the update started, right, back to August 8th. And then you're taking, the current time frame, the 2 weeks or, what was it, 16 days? Something like,
longer.
just over 2 weeks that ended up taking it to roll out. So if you compare those two time periods, that can give you a rough idea if traffic is up or down, right?
Yep. And so, I don't know about you. I don't know if you even had time to look at niche pursuits and see if it was up or down. I know last week at this time it was up, right? But not huge in terms of how many.
It was actually down a little bit last time I looked at it on last episode, I think, and I haven't had a chance to, because I just found out like 10 minutes ago that it finished, and so I'll do like a full comparison here after. But today it looks like traffic is up a little bit maybe compared to like last week, right? So maybe I'm getting back to where I was. It looks like it's not a major impact from what I can tell. Basically flat probably overall, but I will confirm that to make sure. So I haven't seen any huge fluctuations on any of my sites. I was looking at, of course, niche pursuits, but a couple others that are smaller. And So I don't have a big story to tell. I know I have seen some scary looking screenshots from other people, but so if you're listening and have a big update or any insight on what site was hit and maybe why it was hit, or if you know anything, let us know, and we can always talk about that and get more detailed on that.
I'm particularly interested, as I know a lot of people I've seen are interested in just how the update, if it has any impact on AI content predominantly, if they're able to figure it out. I know you on Niche Pursuits have done some AI, heavily edited AI content, right? And so by all accounts, it sounds like did just fine during this update and stuff. Haven't seen anything to suggest that AI content was targeted specifically or in some way in a superior fashion in this update.
Right. Yeah, I was actually just looking at this morning because I have a way, using rank logic, I can show which of my articles were written by AI. And so I did look at that. I don't see any major impact there, and checked a couple of my bigger keywords. They're still ranking #1 in Google. I just looked at those like 5 minutes ago. And so no, it doesn't appear to be like targeting AI content from what I can see or what I'm hearing. So there is that.
Let us know in the comments. I mean, we only look at a subset of sites. So, let us know how your site performed and if you see anything trending.
Yep, absolutely. So the other big news that I just saw late last night, actually, as I was just kind of scrolling through some news, is that, it's a New York Times article that basically says the first monopoly trial of the modern internet era starts basically Tuesday, and the U.S. is setting its sights on Google. So this is a case that was actually brought like 3 years ago, but it's finally going to trial, and so it's finally happening here in just a few days, next week on Tuesday. So this is a monopoly trial, and that's a huge deal. If you look at the history of monopoly trials, there was AT&T back in the mid 80s that had to break up into like 7 different companies. There was Microsoft that had to adjust some of its practices, in the 90s. And, there's been other, of course, monopoly trials that either need to break up companies or dramatically shift how certain companies operate. And so will that happen to Google? Well, we'll see. This is one of those things that says it's a 10-week trial. It begins Tuesday. And it's targeting Google. And this is one of those things that I imagine is going to be either live streamed or there's going to be lots of videos that are talked about. This probably will be all over the headlines next week once the trial actually begins. So this is something to keep your eye on. What it's a couple of things that it's actually focused on. I read the New York Times article here, and a lot of it. Okay, so here's actually the paragraph I lucked out. The case centers on whether Google illegally cemented its dominance and squashed competition by paying Apple and other companies to make its internet search engine the default on the iPhone as well as on other devices and platforms, right? So was that an illegal practice to basically not allow any other search engine to be used by default? Right. And so there's going to be a lot of nuance here. I think a lot of browser usage, computer usage, phone usage. Google is always the default. It's preloaded on those phones or computers or devices. And is that an illegal competitive advantage? Is that a monopolistic behavior? Right. And so that's kind of what it centers on. But of course, it touches on so many other things. Does that other search engines, DuckDuckGo, Bing, you name it, should they have done better? Did Google, illegally sort of dominate the marketplace?
This is a big deal. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm certainly not a legal expert by any stretch, so I don't understand what precedent would be for something like this. But to my knowledge, I don't think there is precedent, which is what makes it such a big deal. I read in there basically that the outcome of this trial could, and there's the word, could set precedent for how antitrust laws apply to these modern kind of tech giants, right, like Apple and Meta and Google. So these antitrust laws, I found this interesting as I read the article to prepare for this. These antitrust laws were put together in the 1890s. You can imagine they're a bit, outdated for what modern tech companies are doing, and there really hasn't been anything brought to suit about this since, like you said, 1998 and Microsoft. Well, 1998, that was a lifetime ago. We didn't even have a smartphone yet.
Absolutely.
So man, it's really hard to understand which way it's going to go because I don't think there's anything that we've seen the Justice Department weigh in on for darn near 25 years now. Who the heck knows where this is going to go?
Yeah, and it's interesting because, when you look at it, it's like, is Google a monopoly? Well, they control 90% of all the search traffic on the internet.
Kind of.
It kind of feels like they're the only player in town. But did they do anything illegal to cement that spot as the front runner, right? Google's going to argue that, hey, our products are just better. You get better results when you come to Google. And as a customer, as a user, all of us probably agree. That's why we use Google, right? We do. If accidentally we end up on yahoo.com for our search, we probably go over to Google, right? I know I've done that. We have computers in the house that for some reason somebody installed Yahoo as the default, right? Like accidentally.
Oh, boy. And
so when that happens, like, oh no, let's go over to Google, right? And so I'm making that choice and that switch. But so it's going to be an interesting trial. I don't know how it's going to turn out. The bigger question that if we can tie this to bloggers and niche site builders, like, will this impact us? I don't know, right? Are less people going to are less people going to be using Google because Google has to split off certain divisions, right? There's going to be a search division, and then they're going to have to split off something else, their maps, and into whole different companies. I don't know. I don't know if that will really change fundamentally how we do anything. But maybe it's a good thing, right? Hey, if you're not performing well in Google, maybe you're going to start doing well in DuckDuckGo, and they're going to have more traffic as a result at the end of the day. We'll see.
It's hard to know. I mean, I think from what we saw in the press with the Justice Department several years ago, a lot of, and please, if I'm wrong, just correct me because I might be wrong on this. This is like 3 years ago memory here kicking in, but I think a lot of it was also related to the connection with the ads team, to the search team, to the Chrome team, to the privacy concerns, and how all that data kind of relates together too. And the fact that on their own, like you said, a lot of this is pretty, I use Google search because it's the best search browser available. But when I'm using Google search, I'm also giving them a lot of data that they then use for other things. And, so a lot of it's more interconnected than perhaps we as bloggers probably really put together, and probably for a lot of people.
Right. I mean, you do have to think about companies like MapQuest that just, I have to imagine, don't really exist anymore because Google Maps is clearly embedded and default and pushed and suggested first when you're on Google, right? So is that an illegal practice, right? To if you type some sort of directional query directly into Google, they just pull up Google Maps, right? Automatically.
I thought Safari was the default on iPhones. So, man, I must have missed out on getting Google Chrome as my default internet browser on my iPhone.
Yeah, well, was it the browser or just search engine, right?
That's what
Safari is the
so
browser, but when you
Chrome.
search something, Safari searches Google.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's always
I
nice
think
to have
so.
a moron moment live on air. So
No, that's all right. We can edit that out, but probably won't.
probably
So,
let's be honest.
But yeah, I think there's a couple different trials, and again, we are both not legal experts. This one I think is focusing on certain aspects, and then I think there's another trial that's still pending.
If
Or
there's
maybe
one thing we know, it's that Google is always in the news for legal issues, which we might have another one to talk about if we have time today.
Yeah, we might as well at least touch on it for 30 seconds here. That in the European Union, Google is not loved as well, and so there is this just recent sort of update that Google was designated as a gatekeeper under EU rules. And what does this mean? This whole article is about that. But basically, under the DMA Act, it's very similar that a gatekeeper, these are companies that maybe have a bunch of different products that, kind of like we were just talking, right? They show you Google Maps because they also own it. They give preference to whatever other product they have, right? These gatekeeper companies, so Google needs to give more choice, give more freedom for other companies to compete, right? And so the DMA kind of just seeks to improve the competition. And Google is like the focus of the EU right now. So
I think the only thing that's different about this, because it's like you said, it's so similar in what it's going after, but the only difference here is that this has been decided upon, and so now Google does have to change. Whereas with the U.S. Antitrust situation, it's still going to court and that sort of thing.
Yeah, good point there. One of them, if I recall here, is that on devices, there could be multiple app stores, right? Instead of just Google Play on Android, there might be other app stores that pop up, and you don't have to use Google Play. You can use whatever third-party store that there might be. So there's going to be more flexibility there in the EU, at least, on devices and things that are happening there. And this is a little bit broader as well. It includes advertising, app stores, default apps, et cetera, right? So Google is again in hot water. I think we're going to see this in the news a lot next week. Like I said, there's probably going to be YouTube live streams and court commentary and all that sort of fun stuff. So buckle up. It could be a fun next week.
I can't wait to see what sort of, we'll call them funny, and I'll maybe also add the word ignorant questions come up about some of Google's stuff from the various people in Congress or whoever's running this.
Yeah, there was some fun ones with Facebook last time a couple years ago,
Okay.
and so we can hope for that. Fingers crossed that we get some things to chat about on that one. So make us sound smarter than maybe our congressmen. We'll see. So,
Finally.
yeah. So another kind of fun one here, actually, that you found is that YouTube is making it easier for creators to choose the perfect thumbnail. So basically, YouTube is coming out with a A/B testing tool like integrated within YouTube, right? So right now they're just testing this capability. Right now, when you upload a video to YouTube, you can upload a custom thumbnail, or you can have YouTube automatically select a random, sort of time stamp throughout your video, which is not a good idea, right? You want a custom thumbnail
always,
for sure.
Frozen with your mouth open or something.
Yeah, it's almost never the right moment. But this is called Test and Compare feature. It's only a few hundred users that are trialing it, but YouTube hopes to launch it next year. And so what it allows you to do is this really grainy screenshot allows you to upload 3 custom thumbnails, and then YouTube will automatically test behind the scenes to see which one gets like a higher click-through rate or engagement, and that obviously could help your video do a lot better. There are some third-party tools right now that do allow you to kind of A/B test, but from what I've heard from other YouTubers is that it's pretty limited and it's not a true A/B test. It kind of like allows you to run it for a week or 2 weeks, and then you can switch to another one for a week or 2 weeks, and you kind of compare. This, I think, will be more real time, and because it's controlled by YouTube, it's going to be a lot more effective, I would think.
I found this to be very interesting on a number of levels. First and foremost, it's about time. I mean, as running an agency that does a lot of email marketing for various companies, and at my last company, we sent out almost 1 million emails a year from our email marketing platform. And I can tell you that most of these email marketing platforms give you the ability to automatically A/B test your subject lines. You put in 2 subject lines, and I'm going to say almost 90% of the time, one of them is a clear outright winner over the other. And it always shocks me how dramatically different the results can be. And so, we know that thumbnails and what you do with a thumbnail can be significant and create significant amounts of change and intrigue and click-through rate and all that kind of stuff. So it's about time that YouTube does this, and it makes our platform better. The more enticing and intriguing the thumbnails, the better. Now, here's what I'm interested in my second point is we know that the way the YouTube algorithm works, a lot of how your video does has to do with its performance, especially in the beginning, the first, 1 to 12, 24 hours. And so if you're out there kind of testing, A/B testing different thumbnails, I'm just curious how that's going to affect the way that they run their algorithm and base their decision. Like, what if I have 2 thumbnails and one is really bad and one's really good, but I get judged by my video quality, thus dictating where I end up in the algorithm overall based on my A/B test of a bad Anyways, I'm getting really nerdy, but I'm really intrigued by this.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a win overall for YouTubers, right? Like you said, you can test out a lot of different either subject lines or thumbnails, and it's not always the one you thought it was going to be, right? You might try something just totally different out there, right? And that could be the one, something that you never tried before. And so we'll see. I will be curious. Hopefully it's early next year, right? Hopefully it's just a few months from now, and we don't have to wait, 12 months from now or something. But exciting kind of update coming.
I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Just wanted to take a short break and remind you that today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. I've got a short clip from Ferry at Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
This is how we landed massive links for our client in The Sun, a DR90 website, and many other UK news websites. We have used freely available data from YouGov to simply find out what the nation's favorite car brand is and which brands people love the most. Of course, Rolls-Royce came out on top, Aston Martin second, and Jaguar third. We put these insights in a short email and sent it to journalists that write about cars and to national news desks on behalf of our client. Within a few days, our client got featured in all the Suns, as well as many regional newspaper sites in the UK, gaining DR90 links to their leasing comparison website. YouGo website is full of unlimited PR stories with data already available for free. All you have to do is to start researching their data and start asking the data questions. You will be surprised of the unlimited PR campaigns that you will find there that can help you build massive exposure and links to your or your clients' websites. I hope this video is helpful and inspirational.
Are you looking for similar link building PR campaigns for your website? If so, just go to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them today.
So with that, I think we covered all the news that we were going to cover, if I'm correct here. So let's jump into our shiny object shenanigans. So I'll go ahead and go first. We've been talking, I don't know, it feels like every other week or so, we kind of are talking about the Amazon Influencer Program. And I felt like, hey, I'll bring this up again. I know I chatted about it last week. I mentioned that I had hired 4 local people to help me review products. People that live in my city, it's kind of cool. Got to have them in person, do some training, all of that. Well, I have an update there. I actually hired 2 more, so I have a total of 6. Actually just hired the 6th one last night. And so I'm up to 6 people now. They're not all fully up and running. A couple of the newer ones haven't actually done a video yet, but I'm getting them set up. I expect by the end of this week, they'll be up and running. But kind of cool, just a fun little update. I am now up to 453 videos total on the platform. I think last week I was like 375 or something.
Yeah, something like that. 300s, the high 300s.
Yeah, so it's like another 75 plus videos. I will say that I found a batch of like 40 or 50 almost videos that had been kind of submitted that we just hadn't added to the platform yet. So that's part of it. It wasn't all these 6 new employees all of a sudden recorded 75 videos.
I was going to say, you got them out of the gate cranking.
Yeah, no, I wish, but they are starting to record more videos, and I'm kind of, clearly I'm kind of going all in, if you will, on the Amazon Influencer Program. I'm not afraid to share my results, good or bad here. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screenshot, actually, of where I'm at currently, my earnings. So I think I removed any personally identifiable information on this.
Well, if you didn't.
But they'll let me know. Yeah. This is just my earnings over the last 30 days. I will just say that August was a down month. Kind of these days that you're seeing, man, I was earning $30, $40, $50 a day for the first 2/3 of the month. Not great, right? So my earnings is at $1,583.59 over the last 30 days, but you can clearly see that at about the 29th of August and on, I'm earning quite a bit more. And in fact, $90 to $100 is much closer to the average here, right? I think yesterday was 70 or something, right? So 70, 80, $90 on average. So I'm hoping in September, right, I'm $2,500 for the month instead of the $1,500 for August. So things are trending up, and I only see that improving as I continue to add more and more videos. So that's pretty much my update. Oh, one other thing related to Amazon Influencer. I am now taking all of these videos and putting them on YouTube. I did create a YouTube channel and have uploaded the first maybe dozen videos. Like I said, I've got 453 videos to upload. The first dozen or so are up there. And so I'll provide more updates in the coming weeks. That's going to take a little while to get that all done and uploaded. But basically all I'm going to do is upload the videos. In the description, I have a one-liner, but basically says, hey, if you want to get the product, click here. It'll be my affiliate link to Amazon. And that's about it for now. I'm going to just get all the content up there and kind of see what happens.
I am so curious to see how that goes. It's been on my list to do because you're sitting on all this content, and obviously, I wouldn't say made for YouTube, but certainly no problems putting it on YouTube. And Amazon's very clear that that's okay. And and whatnot. So yeah, my chart, my graph, whatever you want to call it, looks fairly similar to yours. August was not a good month. I actually made a YouTube video going through all that, and it's going to come out Saturday, and goes through all my earnings and screenshots and all that jazz and stuff. But very similar, very down month. A lot of theories and reasons why potentially, but September's looking significantly better. I don't know if somebody just turned on all the influencer videos, or if everybody's buying again, or maybe a combination of both. But yeah.
So if it's okay with you, Jared, I actually have a second sort of topic I thought I'd squeeze in here that I think fits best in this shiny object shenanigans portion of the show here. So another thing I've been talking about doing for a long time is recruiting other people to kind of start their own side hustle, right? Kind of figure out what's a little niche online business, whether it's Amazon influencer, a faceless YouTube channel, something else that I can get a bunch of people to do, can kind of motivate them to do that, and then share all of those results either through YouTube or through the podcast here, and kind of, just gather some learnings from the community. And hopefully just get people excited about starting something and doing something. So I recently polled my audience. I put together a list of, I'm going to share this, but it's maybe a dozen ideas that I kind of put together that I thought would be interesting to watch somebody build, right? If I can get 10 or 20 people to kind of build this and I'll publicly share the results, wouldn't that be fun to watch for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year, whatever? And so that's the nugget of the idea. I surveyed my audience. I put this on social media and out in my email list. I've got 505 responses so far on this, and you can clearly see that there are two ideas that are rising to the top. And the first one should not really come as a surprise. This is build an SEO site with AI-generated content. So my audience is primarily people building niche sites and doing SEO, so it's not much of a surprise that people would be interested in seeing that. That's got 42% of the vote. And then the other one is start a no-face YouTube channel with 38% of the vote. But a couple of others that are close would be start an ebook business with either original or AI-generated content. And then it looks like selling digital downloads on Etsy is kind of the next one. But if you're looking at the screen here, you can see a few of the other ideas. I'm going to keep this survey open for over the weekend until Monday. I'm going to close it on Monday. So I'll put this survey in the description on YouTube or the podcast. If people want to add their vote, I am going to take the top one. And if I'm honest, I'm going to probably start doing these, like starting a new one every month. And so the second and the third and the fourth pick will eventually get done. It might just take several months. But if you add your vote, I'm going to take the top pick. And then, like I said, I'm not necessarily personally going to build a site with AI-generated content, but I'm going to get a bunch of people that are interested in doing that. We're going to do a call together. I'm going to kind of kick it off, get people motivated and excited to do it, and then I'm going to do ongoing calls, whether that's once a month, maybe bring on an expert in AI, right, that they can get a little bit of coaching from. And this is going to be, of course, free. The only payment is that I'm going to ask that you sort of document your results and share it with the audience so that I can kind of share the findings as well. So anyways, it's going to be a fun experiment. I don't know if it really is a side hustle per se, because this is for niche pursuits, so call it my main hustle if you want. But that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm excited about. And survey results are kind of fun to look at and follow along with.
I think I'm going to go vote for the Amazon return pallet idea there. It needs some love.
It does need some love.
Clearly was not a winner with anyone. I don't know why. It sounds so unique. I never even thought about that.
I want to see somebody do it. So, I can always decide, you know what, it didn't get all the votes. Maybe I'll do it anyways. But it won't be the first one.
You should have to do the one with the lowest votes. And you can have other people do the ones with the highest votes.
Okay, punishment.
Yeah, you had a bad idea. Now you got to do it.
I had a bad idea. I shouldn't have put this. So go give it a shot. I like that.
That's fun. That's fun. It reminds me a bit of some of the niche site projects, which are very successful, popular, and people love to this day. So
Yeah, that's exactly where the idea came from, of course, is these niche site projects. So I've been trying to think, how can I do niche site projects without like halting everything in my business, right? I don't have time to spend 2 or 3 hours a day on a new website or a new project, right? Because I have plenty, as we discuss here each week. But I would love to still be doing those projects. And I think this is a happy medium. Without me having to do all the work, I can do 10% of the work and still have lots of results to share and hopefully get the community excited and involved. So yes, that is the idea.
So share the results next week. We'll get to find out the results.
Absolutely. Yep. On Monday, I plan to start to close this and pick a winner and share the results for sure next week.
Well, you never know. It's like an election. Things could swing in the final hours here, especially when you announce it here on the podcast. Maybe
that's exactly right.
We'll bring some change. We'll be looking at some different ones. But yeah, you're right. Clearing away right now that SEO site with AI is probably is definitely a popular one.
Yep. Absolutely. So with that, I'll let you take the floor here and talk about your shiny object that you're working on.
Yeah, well, last week I shared about how I kind of went nuts on making videos for the Amazon influencer program. Now, I did say, I think, that I was going to try to stay at about 30 a week and still keep making them. So I did hit 29 videos.
Nice.
So that's good. Nice that I didn't burn myself out too much. And motivating to see that September seems to be going really well. And, you and I were talking off air about how just exciting it is to see what Q4 looks like. Because really a lot of this, since we got going on it in the springtime, is one thing. But, as we all know, in the Amazon world, it's all about Q4 and specifically from Black Friday to, sometime mid to late December. So that's exciting. That's fun. This week for me, in terms of side hustles, I focused on YouTube. And I focused on the Weekend Growth YouTube account, which has always been a very low priority. So it truly fits in it's like the side hustle of Weekend Growth, which is a side hustle for me. So it's like the
there you go.
It's pretty layered down in terms of priorities. Got 4 videos created. One of them, Spencer, I think you'll be curious to know about. I made a tutorial about how we use Link Whisper.
Good choice.
You might have heard of that plugin before.
I have.
I really like it, so you should give it a shot sometime. Did an overview of the month 3 on Amazon Influencer Program, which was August. And then did 2 additional videos that'll come and release in the coming weeks and stuff. So I got 4 videos in the bank. And just the overall publishing of that tutorial video plus some buzz and all that. So we're over 800 subscribers now. Still a very small number. Watch hours just broke 1,000 watch hours since the account was started, I think, in May. So nowhere near monetization from the 1,000 subscriber, 3,000 watch hours that's needed to add ads per se. But, I'm going to give it a go. I am going to put some more effort towards it because I do feel like crossing that 1,000 hour mark was a little bit motivating and stuff. But man, YouTube content is so hard. I don't even do it that well. Like I don't do all the crazy, really involved stuff on YouTube, and it's still so hard to create. So hats off to everyone doing a YouTube channel. It's tough work. It's a grind.
Yeah, it is. It's involved. It's a lot of work. But congrats. I mean, you're inching closer to the 1,000 subscriber mark, and I mean, it's clear that you're putting a lot of effort into your videos, right? Creating the content and everything, and so it's a bit of a grind, but it's one of those things that once the snowball starts turning, if you can be consistent, like it just continues to build.
Spencer, I can see there you have seen the a little bit of the Link Whisper video.
I did indeed.
It's an hour long. That's my other problem. I mean, man, I just can't make a short YouTube video. I don't know what you put a mic in front of my face, and I feel like it must be a podcast. I got to go an hour or something. So that's got to be a problem too.
For the YouTube algorithm, right, for it to go viral, An hour-long one probably isn't going to go viral.
No.
Right? But it hits on the core audience, can give them the training or the tips and the strategies that they want and they need, right? We do that here, right? We talk for an hour on the podcast, and the core audience loves it, right? Because they want the more in-depth information. So
I have published a number of shorts over the last week or two, and I'm happy to report live in front of everyone that that's gone terribly, and it's hardly gotten any views, and I don't know if I'm doing it wrong or something, but that's not gone well either. So I have not cracked the shorts code either. So
yeah. Well, good job for sticking with it. You're like I said, you're getting close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Get the 4-figure followers. That's
nice.
The big one.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Now I'm going to just throw this out at you, and then we can move on. But I had a thought. I was talking with my wife, I don't know, over the weekend. We had a drive. We went out of town for a little bit. And you know what I realized? Early days, but if this account keeps growing, I could use it to qualify for a second Amazon influencer account.
You could.
I don't know how that worked. Do I tie it to maybe my wife's Amazon account or something? Maybe she would do it with, I don't know. I was just thinking out loud. I mean, it just kind of occurred to me. Could I have 2 influencer accounts?
And what in the world would you do with the second one?
I don't know. I guess review the same products and compete with myself. I don't
there
know.
you go. Yeah, just make sure somebody else reviews them all
Yeah.
instead of you.
It's got to be somebody else.
You
I'd
could
have to adopt your mentality of hiring some people.
just hire a team. Try that out.
Man, so I don't know. Just got my brain going.
The wheels are always turning. Good. I like it. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our weird niche sites. So each of us have one weird niche site that we found. I'll go ahead and go first here. I will say that this, I believe, was shared by somebody in the audience weeks ago. So I had it on my idea spreadsheet. I had sort of skipped over it for a couple of weeks, but I'm coming back, and we're going to do it. So this site is http://statusdogs.com. http://statusdogs.com. So if I share my screen, you can see what it's all about here. It's kind of just a fun, cute, funny website that, all the HTTP status codes that exist, 200, 201, 404, 400, all of them have pictures of dogs that kind of go with what the status means, right? So you've got 206 is partial content. It's got a dog with one leg. 207 is a multi-status. It's a picture of twin dogs.
308.
Boy, 308 is, what do we got? A permanent redirect. Yeah, there you go. A statue of a dog. Payment required, 402, a dog with money. There's a few other good ones.
417, I like.
What's 417 here? Expectation failed, a dog failing to fetch the thing. 413, request entity too large, right? And if you click on it, this is with a massive dog, right? Way larger than a human here. It gives you a little bit more detail. The request is larger than the server is willing or able to process. And so it's kind of just a fun website if you're ever confused about, hey, what's this status code? What does this mean? Well, now you can go to http://statusdogs.com and it will tell you exactly what it means. And I don't know, maybe some of these pictures will help you memorize, right? These could be flashcards of okay, what's a 410? What's a 404? What's a 400? And you just remember the picture of the dog and then you'll know. This particular site, it says that it was inspired by HTTP status cats. And so I did visit that one. And this is just a Flickr account or an album, right? That is essentially the same thing with cats. So, it's a bunch of pictures with cats. And so the status dogs really just took the cats, made it dogs, and put it on its own URL to make it an official website. This is just as good. With a bunch of cats. Method not allowed. 405 is George W. Bush trying to eat a kitten, it appears. So method not allowed on that one. And so this could be fun. You can check it out. And to give a shout out to Girly Mac, I believe it was, that came up clearly with the original idea. Oh, I've lost the website now. Here we are. Girly Mac, she is on Twitter, and she actually calls out that, hey, she's the Status Cats author, right? So that is one of her claims to fame. So at some point, this went viral. The Status Dogs website itself does not get much traffic anymore. For a while, it was getting, 20 or 30,000 visitors a month. I think it's maybe 1,000 or so visitors a month. So it's not making money. In fact, there's no ads or anything on the website. It's just it's just what we like to call a weird niche site. So,
fun little fact, Spencer, if you go click on the 201 image there, and you can see a little bit more. That is the origin story of the name of my my marketing agency.
201 Creative.
Yep, that's where it comes from. The request has been fulfilled and resulted in a new resource being created.
I like it.
What we do for clients.
201. I had always wondered where that came from. I was thinking, it's an area code or something. But
it makes you think, right? Kind of throws you off. You just don't really know which way to go. That's
I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't smart enough. I like it, though. So there you go. 201 Creative harkens to the status code of 201. So,
and in some very loose way, we are connected to HTTP status dogs as well, I suppose.
That's right. So anyways, that was my find for the week. Maybe not as making as much money as some of the others, but still just as fun.
When I first saw that on the agenda, just as we started recording, I just briefly saw it, but we were live. I thought maybe it was another hot dog website. We were going to get a second hot dog because we had the Costco hot dog website?
Yes, one of the originals, the Costco hot dog.
Different dogs here than that one.
Real dogs. So, very good. So let's see what you got for your niche site here today.
Yes, sticking with the fun theme, the website I brought forward today is Cornify.com, and this is a unicorn and rainbows on-demand website.
On demand.
On demand. Hold yourself if you're watching on YouTube, where you're about to be inundated with very bright, vibrant graphics. This is a website that embraces everything that you could imagine when it comes to unicorns. Started poking around when looking for a weird niche site. My daughter just got a new sweater. She's 7, and it's just covered in unicorns, pink, purple, and everything, every other color on the spectrum, I feel like. So I thought there's got to be a website out there about unicorns, and I landed on this one. So a couple things you can do here. You can color your favorite unicorn. As a matter of fact, you can just start clicking buttons and unicorn up your whole browser. So that's the first thing you can do.
It's just the more I click, the more unicorns pop up.
The more unicorns you get, they just stick with you. So you could just keep those unicorns as you browse the internet. So if you're just needing, a little pick me up, just bounce around the internet with some unicorns all over your screen.
They're gonna stick with me.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It's a little ridiculous. So you can make your own unicorn. You can see other unicorns. They have the Rainbow blog. Dutifully themed, do you like happiness? Yes, we do. Let's cornify the world together and spread eternal, sparkly happiness. So they actually have a lot going on here, I will say. There's quotes. There, in terms of the actual website itself, and some of the things that we would be most interested in, there is a store, and there is all sorts of unicorn stuff that you can buy. It does go to Amazon listings, so it must be that they've just gone out and sourced everything unicorn and thrown an affiliate code on it. But, there's...
Got the magical unicorn taco holder.
There's a unicorn squirrel feeder. There's all sorts of stuff, right? Boy, if I scanned long enough, I could probably find my daughter's sweater on here. Now, in terms of traffic, it does not do very well, unfortunately. 434 keywords. Ahrefs is estimating under 1,000 monthly organic page views. Here's the thing, though. It's a DR57.
Wow. Nice.
So, oh, God, they're sitting on a gold mine here. Or a unicorn mine, I suppose.
A rainbow mine. Absolutely. So, do they have what type of content do they have besides look right? We kind of went over. You can do coloring. They got a gallery. They've got a shop. Do they have any other sort of content?
Yeah, so they say that they have this blog, and when you go look at what's actually ranking pretty well, they do have something called a unicorn name generator. So I don't know if you'd call that a page or a blog post, but you can basically say what's the first letter of your name, what month were you born in, and you can go generate your unicorn name. Mine, because my first name is Jared, and I was born in August. My unicorn name is Cupcake Cornyhorn. So just thought I'd share that.
All right, Cupcake.
I'm not the one that ranks on the blog there.
Yeah, I'm getting distracted. I'm coloring a unicorn right now. So.
Oh, you are. That must be.
Yeah, I'll go away from that. But so they do have a blog somewhere, supposedly, huh?
Yeah, supposedly they have a blog. I didn't poke around it too much, but that is what they say.
Yeah, with the DR57, maybe there's some other type of content that you could use to get more SEO traffic. It doesn't really appear that they've tapped into that too well. It's mostly a shareable, viral type site, right? That if people share it with you, you go check it out.
Here's something we talk about in the podcast, not quite a bit, but it comes up like, hey, they have done what a lot of our guests come on and talk about. They have a page, Spencer, I will drop it. We talked last week about how, yes, we actually do have a doc that we work off of, if you can believe it. I know that we don't sound very organized, but we're more organized than you think. But they have a unicorn facts page, which is wonderful for building links. We know facts pages work really well. And, so whether they stumbled upon it by accident just because it was fun or whether they actually did it on purpose. Now, I will say that in this case, it's not contributing much to their DR57. There are no backlinks here. But I think it's also because it's nowhere to be found on their homepage or any pages that actually get traffic. So. But
Right.
Even this website that doesn't seem to be having a big focus on search is doing some of the things that people recommend.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I agree. There could be some improvements on link structure, right? Site structure. To kind of, I can't even get to their footer, right? I just keep scrolling. Anyways,
I think each of those loads as images. If I go look at top pages in Ahrefs again, it's like 200. How many did I say here? It was like 200 or 300 pages, which this is not. Yeah, 268 pages, and a lot of them are just these random images with poor site,
right.
Poor URL structure and all that. So.
Okay, here we go. On the About page, since its memorable launch on Hacker News on January 31st, 2009.
Oh, it's been around a while.
Cornify has provided over 400 million unicorns and rainbows to its beloved community. So it clearly got off with a bang, it sounds like, and it's still just kind of hanging around and not getting quite as much traffic. But
not to cut you off, if you go to the footer, it's by Germany's best kept secret is what it says in the footer. And so, we just got done basically talking about how this is a very poorly designed site, right? Like we can kind of all agree on that. Well, apparently I feel bad now because we're kind of live, but it's created by somebody who specializes in and has a company in UX design.
And this website looks a lot nicer.
It looks great.
Say. But maybe the unicorn site for what it was in 2009. Or,
you know what, Spencer? We might not, I'm just going to offer that we might not be the target audience of that unicorn website, I don't want to speak for you, of course, but, just.
Well, I haven't been there before, but I also didn't know it existed. So we'll see if I go back.
Yeah, I agree. This UX
interesting.
Site is very well designed, but the unicorn site has some stuff that could be worked on.
Yeah. So good find. Digging into the archives of the internet, basically, right? Back from 2009. This was quite the hit. I'm sure they've updated it since then. Clearly, I mean, it looks like it. It still works, right? So
Well, the Amazon products, from what I saw, were all in stock. So it seems like somebody's
Yeah.
at least, making sure that the
Working on
unicorn
it.
stuff's up to date. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Well, good one. We'll just leave it at that. I don't know what else to say about that site.
I don't think our weird niches this week were models of success. I think they were more models of interesting, funny.
Yeah.
What could you do with that? But more on the fun lines.
Yeah, there could be somebody that just wants a passion project, right? There's just something that gets you excited, gets you out of bed, wants to do something interesting. You can build a site about it. Just build a site, build a niche site, whether or not it makes money. If it makes you happy, gets you motivated to do something, go ahead and do that. That's what I have to say.
Both had threads of virality going for them, right? We saw that too. So, just because an idea might not be as monetizable doesn't mean it can't be have the viral nature to it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that wraps up this week in Niche Pursuits news. We've covered the news, we've covered our shiny objects, and we've covered our weird niche sites. And I will just give a plug for my own newsletter. If you go to nichepursuits.com/newsletter, this will be a timely one. If you sign up by Monday, at least, that's when I plan on announcing the results of this survey that I mentioned. And so if you take the survey, you can get the results on Monday in my newsletter. That's where I'm going to share the results first, although you've gotten a sneak peek today on what that might be. But I'm going to have a lot more information about, okay, now that we have the winning idea, what comes next? And that's where it gets even more interesting. So I'll tease that as well.
Go, pallets, go.
We need just, another couple hundred people to vote for the pallets.
I'm campaigning for the pallets here. We got a long fight ahead of us, but we're not out of it yet.
Let's see what kind of weight you can throw around on that one, Jared. So
I think I'm going to throw much weight around.
good luck. Good luck. But everyone, thank you so much for listening to the news, to the podcast here, and hope everybody has a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Here's a short clip of Ferry from Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
What a crazy campaign. How to Sleep on Your Back. This campaign got us links in Huffington Post, Glamour magazine, Mirror, and lots of other great news publications. Let me show you how we've done it. It was so simple. Our sleep client provided us with expert commentary about how to train yourself to fall asleep on your back. They also gave advice on why it's best to sleep on your back. Once we've had this information, we went to Muckrack and searched for journalists that consistently write about sleep and well-being. We've sent these journalists the advice provided by the client, and within 1 day the links started flowing in. Glamour magazine, a DR81 website, picked it up. Huffington Post, DR88, Mirror UK, DR90, a massive avalanche of links blasted to our client's website with this simple yet effective campaign about how to sleep on your back. I hope this inspires, and I hope you'll use this technique to land massive links to your or your client's website.
Thanks for joining us today on the podcast. Just a final reminder that it was brought to you by Search Intelligence. And if you're looking for link building PR campaigns for your website, just head over to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them today. Cheers.